Hello there, friends on the internet. The Great Scott here. I was going to wear my glasses in this video, but the minute I could see the reflection of my phone, I decided, nah, no glasses. I haven't done a video vlog for my YouTube channel since I got glasses, actually, so I think I'll take them off just to keep them all consistent here. As you guys know, I used to do Honest Opinions all the time many years ago, and it just got to the point where I was actually too busy as a magician and an entertainer and other ventures to do things like this. But it takes a real interesting fascination with a certain entertainment project for me to come out of retirement. And like a lot of people, I am really looking forward to the fact that a year from now we are finally going to get to see Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves return as Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan in the long-awaited third Bill and Ted installment, which we have waited 29 years for. I also find it interesting that this is Alex Winter's first acting job since a few years after he did Bogus Journey. He kind of focused on the opposite side of the camera and did mostly directing and such. But anyway, I was thrilled to death when it was announced William Sadler was coming back for a couple reasons. Number one, he had been doing a lot of acting on television and stuff lately, so he was still very active as an actor. Secondly, he killed it as Death in Bogus Journey, and the last time we saw him, he was a member of the band. So if you were going to make this about what the band's doing today, I always thought that if they made a third one, it would make sense to still have the Grim Reaper in the movie and have him be part of the band. Now, it's possible he's moved on, but I just love the fact that he's in the movie. I will say this. I wasn't surprised to hear that they were... Well, let me rephrase. They have recast the princesses yet again. So I think it maybe has kind of turned into a running gag or whatever. But the same actresses who did the first one didn't do the second one, and now they have two different actresses doing this one. And, you know, recasts are going to happen because, after all, it's been 29 years and people leave the business. I think I looked online and I found out that none of the actresses that did the first two are still currently acting. Also, they recast the role of Keanu Reeves' little brother Deacon, who we haven't seen since the first movie. He was mentioned in Bogus Journey, but he was not in the first. But he wasn't in the first. But we haven't seen him since the first one. Now, the actor who played Deacon was one of those actors who acted as a kid and didn't do much after Excellent Adventure. So I don't blame them for getting somebody else. But the thing with both the princesses and with Deacon, the casting department could have found people the right age. I mean, the two actresses that they have playing Elizabeth and Joanna were, I think, 9 and 12 when Excellent Adventure came out. So they're actually younger than they're supposed to be. Not only that, but if I remember correctly, I think Ted's little brother Deacon was maybe 5 years younger than him in Excellent Adventure, and they got a guy from SNL who's 20 years younger than Keanu Reeves. Now, I realize Keanu Reeves doesn't age, but one of the selling points of this movie is that it's supposed to be Bill and Ted in their 50s, so he's playing a guy his actual age, so shouldn't Deacon be like 45 now? Just a thought, but anyway. The one major thing I want to cover in this video is a theory. There's a lot of speculation on one actor who's in this movie, and that's Anthony Carrigan. Anthony Carrigan, everybody knows him from Gotham. I actually didn't know who he was until he was cast in this movie. But there's been a lot of speculation as to who he is playing. He has only been listed in all of the press releases as a cunning antagonist for the most excellent adventurers, Bill and Ted. And I've heard a couple theories. One theory is that he's Don Amelos' son. Don Amelos, of course, being the bad guy from Bogus Journey. And the other theory is that he is the Grim Reaper's son. After thinking about this for a while and doing a little bit of research, I've come to a conclusion. I think the latter is more likely, that he's Death's son rather than Don Amelos'. While I have never really liked the idea of family members being on opposite sides of the equation, meaning if Death's son is the bad guy, I don't think the Grim Reaper will be with him unless they decided to turn the Grim Reaper into the bad guy in this one. But I really don't think a lot of people would like that, given how great William Sadler did as Death in Bogus Journey. Also, one other thing I should mention is that when I saw William Sadler put on his Twitter account, "Have Sickle will travel." When he heard the third movie had been greenlit, that was the first thing he did. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, they better take him back. They had better take. You don't have George Carlin. William Sadler is an awesome actor. He killed it his death the first time. I was like, if it was almost like I was saying, if they don't bring back William Sadler as Death in this movie, I'm not going to see it. There was a part of me that was actually saying that. So I'm glad that the people who are making Face the Music had enough sense to take him up on his offer. But anyway, you do have the question, given the plot line that this movie has, is, okay, we know from William Sadler's Twitter account that he was on the set for at least a month. So that begs the question, where does Death fit into this storyline? And I have to ask myself, okay, if Anthony Carrigan is playing De Nomolos' son, and we don't have the actor who played De Nomolos is like 90-something now, and he's not listed on the cast list. So if Carrigan is playing De Nomolos' son, then you're going to have to do a lot of explaining setup as to who his character is. But if he's the Grim Reaper's son, then it's kind of self-explanatory. Kind of goes under the thing that screenwriters are supposed to do, which is show, don't tell. Don't write out a ton of dialogue explaining stuff to the audience. Anything you can show them is better. And I can think of a dozen different reasons why Death's son would be jealous of Bill and Ted. Maybe because of taking their father away from them and being in a band. Maybe you could write just about anything that would make him turn into a bad guy. Not to mention, since it's been widely publicized that Bill and Ted's daughters are a big part of this story, there's always a possibility that this is all about exploring the next generation of wild stallions, and so they might have thought it'd been funny to say that Death had a kid. One thing that I think it would be hilarious if they did was have it be that Death is now married to Missy, who was married to Bill's father in the first movie and then Ted's father in the second film. Now, the actor who played Bill's father is nowhere to be found on the cast list for Face the Music. Truth is, he was barely in Bogus Journey. He kind of just had a walk-on cameo in the first 10 minutes of the film. The actor who played Ted's father had like 3 scenes in both films, though. The part of Bill's father wasn't that big in the first movie either. I think Bill's dad was actually only in 2 scenes, if I'm remembering correctly. The one where they're studying in Bill's bedroom, and then when the 2 fathers are walking into the history report at the end of the movie. I think those are the only 2 scenes Bill's father were in. So, no disrespect to the actor, he did a great job, but it was kind of a throwaway role. They really didn't do much with Bill's father. So of the 2 main leads, Bill and Ted, they have always focused more on Ted's family. Ted's father, the police captain, and, he was the one with the little brother in the first one. Anyway, so having said all that, one thing that we know for a fact is going to happen in the movie, we know that Bill and Ted are playing a wedding at some point in this movie. The Wild Stallions are the entertainment for a wedding, and I think we can conclude that it's Deacon's wedding, because there's a shot when some press photos leaked of Bill and Ted in tuxedos at the wedding. They were talking with somebody, and the caption said, "Bill and Ted argue with the father of the groom." Well, the guy that they were talking to was the actor who plays Ted's dad. So if he's the father of the groom, and that's Ted's dad, then it means that explains how they're bringing Deacon back. So there's a part of me that wonders if Ted's father and brother, how big their role is going to be. If the wedding sequence is just kind of a revisit with them for nostalgia's sake. But we'll see. There's also a part of me that when we last saw Missy, she was married to Ted's dad, not Bill's dad. But then there was the newspaper headline about her marrying De Nomolos at the end of Bogus Journey. But the writers have already gone on record and saying, don't pay any attention to the headlines at the end of Bogus Journey. They're not canon. They were just the editing department and the graphics department being funny. Furthermore, you really can't take them at face value because the dates on the newspapers are all wrong. Well, let me rephrase that. Most of the newspapers have a date on them of 2691, which means they're all headlines from the future, where maybe the Wild Stallions traveled into the future and played concerts there. So that really doesn't have an effect on the present day of 2019 events that are being explored in this movie. So, not to mention 29 years. That's more than enough time for Missy to have divorced Captain Logan married Denomalos, divorced him, and now be married to the Grim Reaper. I just think it would be very funny if Missy was married to the Grim Reaper in this one, because they kind of set it up as a running gag with the first two movies that Missy is a little bit of a serial bride, so to speak. So to have her married to the Grim Reaper, it would give the actress who plays Missy something to do, because you have to ask yourself, the writers of Bill and Ted are obviously smarter than me, and they've had 29 years to come up with this script. But when I hear who they're bringing back, I immediately ask myself, okay, why are they bringing this person back? Why are they bringing that person back? So, to me, if I were writing the script, I think it would, just with the pieces I know that we have, it would make sense to me that the Grim Reaper is now married to Missy, and that Anthony Carrigan is playing their son, and he somehow turns on the rest of the group and becomes the antagonist of the movie. That would be the plot line that you could do that would have the littlest explaining and backstory and exposition you would have to set up. Now, here's the thing. There have been a lot of speculations online about Anthony Carrigan playing the son of Death or the son of Denomalos, but it's also possible he's not either. We've kind of got, a lot of what I've said in this video has kind of gone under the assumption that he is. There is also a part of me, Anthony Carrigan is known for playing bad guy roles because of his condition that makes him have no hair on his face anywhere. So there's a part of me that wonders, okay, why? I mean, from everything I've heard, Anthony Carrigan's a good actor, but a part of me thinks that maybe the writers saw him and said, he would make a great Death Jr. So maybe that's why maybe that's why they went in the direction. Anyway, my theory is I think the movie would be the funniest and the most interesting if Anthony Carrigan was playing the Grim Reaper's son. That's just my opinion. But anyway, for all I know, I could be completely wrong here. But anyway, that's my best guess. I don't want to call this video a prediction because anytime I make a prediction, I'm usually wrong. So, but that's what I think. That's my honest opinion about all the speculation we've been hearing about Face the Music so far. And I just wanted to kind of get some of this out there. And, it takes a movie or a project I'm really interested in to drag me out of vlogging retirement. So if anybody connected to Face the Music sees this, you guys should be flattered that I came out of vlogging retirement to make this video. But I look forward to August 21st, 2020. And here's another thing. If anybody from... this might not be possible because Orion Pictures, which I don't think exists anymore, distributed the first two movies, and now another distributor is doing this movie. But I think it could be very lucrative for the film company to try to do a evening before, it would be on the 20th of August, an evening before Bill and Ted Fathom event, meaning you could watch all three movies in a row. Because since it's been 29 years since Bogus Journey, people are going to be rewatching the first two movies anyway. So why not turn it into a Fathom event and make some extra money? I'd go and see it. Not to mention, it's a marathon that would not take up a lot of theater time either, because the first two movies are only 90 and 98 minutes long anyway. I don't know how long the third one's going to be. But I mean, assuming that it's around the same time, that's only a 4.5-hour marathon. It's not like the 8-hour marathon my friend Justin and I went to where we watched all 4 Toy Stories. But anyway, or the 6-hour marathon that I went to with my friends Ben and my pastor at the time, Pastor Sam, when we saw the Dark Knight trilogy back to back. So I think that if the powers that be are listening, you guys should definitely do a Bill and Ted marathon like Fathom event or something. When on the 20th of August, the evening before the movie comes out. I would go, that's for sure. And I'm sure there's other people out there who would as well. Anyway, this is The Great Scott, and that's my honest opinion about that.